Fire here. Welcome to another 2025 League of Dracula round 8 match. Today we are watching the first matchup that is between Spencer Wolfhart and AndreZot. Spencer Wolfhart playing Hunters today. By appearance is going... Oh, a bit interesting that the Van Helsing in Manchester. But a bit interesting for London, Van Helsing in Manchester, but okay. And then we have and then but apart from that, we have a perfectly normal old school Scott sword setup. Give me a mo as I try. I wonder what has been going on with my laptop's camera lately, but whatever, no matter. I am also expecting Gyro to join me for commentary. Spencer Wolfhart and AndreZot ended up surprising us with a quick acceleration of when they were going to begin. So apologies for that if you've been waiting for the right time. But well. Okay, so going with a relatively normal start, I would say, for just doing the usual week 1 unsupply I train and so on. But about these two players, for those who don't know. So Spencer Wolfhart is, unless I deceive myself in what I've heard, Spencer Wolfhart is one of the oldest veterans of all. Even more than Scott Sword, if I recall what I was told about him. He tends to favor when he is Dracula. He is most known for his Dracula lair play strategy. As hunters, he is definitely a competent player. He and I competed in the very first round of the league phase. So due to that fact, I have a slight inclination to want him to win. Due to outcomes of other matches, that there are quite a few people there could end up being quite a few people sitting at 10 wins, and then me and Burkles can be the deciding factor as to whether I'm like 6th, 5th, 6th, or 7th, depending on what happens. Okay, interesting. AndreZot choosing not to lair his misdirect his first thing. But one way or another, that's good. So far, both these players are at 7 and 7. So, whoa, discarding a horse? What are you doing, Spencer? I suppose Scotsword said it the last time I streamed one of Spencer Wolfhart's Hunter games. Spencer marches to the beat of his own drum. That is, he is definitely very unique when it comes to players, Hunter players, in ways I cannot really describe. But one way or another, when it comes to AndreZot's joined after the League of 2023, if I recall correctly, and I believe he competed in the New Blood tournament, and then I was part of Cagliari Comunara Special. Oh, well, that's an interesting choice to use Hypnosis this early. Alright. Well, that's interesting. I'm streaming if you want to. I'm streaming if you want to. Yeah, this is... Hypnosis Day 3 is definitely something you don't see often. but okay, I suppose. So we know that this location is in, although with the rumor token, that seems to indicate, it definitely indicates possibility of a hide card. Yeah, okay, so Glowing already had a horse when he discarded that one. Was it that he had yet to, they possibly drew double horse, and that holding and Mina didn't have one at the time, and that he was a horse that he was yet to trade to Mina, perhaps. And I can't understand what sort of circumstances, barring potentially that would convince him. This is definitely very interesting. I have reservations about some of what Spencer has done, obviously. Using hypnosis day 3, discarding a horse with Gul'daming. Yeah, Jaro and I will have definitely some things to chat about when he arrives. Jaro, as most of you likely already know, is quite a who have been following any of you who have been following our community for a reasonable amount of time. He is quite a comedian, and and it is rare that he does not have a good answer to make one laugh if he has been in a sour mood. So having him as a co-com is always a treat. But you needn't tell him I said that. Alright, so that's a location next to Leipzig. Hamburgstadt, perhaps? Yeah. But I suppose I got distracted by what Spencer was doing. AndreZot, I know that AndreZot is typically I don't know anything in particular about his Dracula play, or I don't recall anything. Hopefully, I'm not sure if Jaro might be able to tell you more, but Team Cagular Carbonara special in I don't recall if it was Duos and Dark Halls or if that team was in the Immortal Invitational, but they did fairly well. So AndreZot is definitely no pushover. I mean, there are very few in the community who are pushovers at this stage. Discarding a rifle so as to keep your dogs? I don't get this. Gracious. There have been several questionable choices already. Okay, he does have a rifle to destroy the saboteur. That much is good. Okay, what? Night flying? We haven't had a mystic research. You are definitely taking the risks here, Spencer. Risks that really are not necessary. This is not hunter play that you typically see. It'll be interesting to discover whether it will work out or not. But I don't know. have him go into Hamburg now, I assume? Because I would assume that he would think that it's Hamburg. Though he might check Frankfurt. Frankfurt has been growing in the community. What? Okay, trying to intercept Dracula leaving Germany, perhaps? And have Van Helsing come through North Sea. I think I'm making the picture now. Of course, we are doing this under the assumption that this is a hide card. This is... yeah, this is definitely awkward. There are definitely some things that Spencer has done that is definitely awkward. Hypnosis is typically useful for, like, tracking a mid-game sea voyage. And you save it, and sometimes, depending on which sea it is, like if you leave from Tyrrhenia and travel only one sea, then Hypnosis is definitely something you want to do. Bats, okay. So now Van Helsing approaches, and with no bats to prevent him, he can get at the vampire. Okay. We are fortunate that it was Hamburg, because had it been Frankfurt instead, then I mean, he would have given Dracula value for these two cards and while he still gains 6 or 7 points. Maybe. I mean, there is still old Seward who might have been able to find it. Oh, whoa. Have you got a heroic leap going on here? What's this searching for Drac on your own? I mean, this is very strange. Very unorthodox hunter play. But yeah. Like I said, Scotsword Samurai. I mean, this is basically the character of Spencer Wolfhard. He just doesn't do things the same way everyone else does. It's just different. Oh boy. Goodness gracious. So from Leipzig, this seems like a perfectly normal Nuremberg Munich thing. I mean, unless it's Frankfurt Nuremberg, then that's all it could be. To have him land here at this time. No events? Goodness. You have a death wish? It's good. Oh, whoa. Okay then. Okay. It's worked out so far. But now, even now, Dracula could escape his bat, and tracking an escape his back from Zurich is definitely not going to be fun, especially if he follows it up with a wolf form. 4 away from Zurich could mean practically anywhere on the map. Oh, wow, that's 2 for 2. Gracious. How quick will this game... if things go just as Spencer wants them to, it would not be the first time I have seen a game done like almost just like that. Oh, but there's the escape his bat. But he lost 7 health, and that is a very costly this early in the game. Surely he will use it. Because I, I, I suppose another way to think of it is by, in addition to dealing 7 damage to Drac, you also have killed this new vampire. Because he has to clear the hideout and stick that in the discard pile. In order to escape his bats. So that actually went extremely well for the hunters. Okay, steak and dogs, no matter what this is. Yeah. I suppose not anything, but very few things can survive against steak and dogs. Wow. Speed telegraph? Not sure whether I like that, but okay, Mia has an escape route. That's definitely very good for her. Yeah, okay, yeah, actually speed telegraph, I definitely take that back. Taking Zagreb right off the bat is definitely a very good thing to do. As with Mia having been stationed at Vienna still, and with Zagreb ruled out, that's the east. Unless he did well, except that he has to have passed, certainly will have passed through Munich. So yeah, yeah. I just don't know what to say, folks. This is definitely not the sort of thing you expect. These knights supplying. Will you give me a night supply for one item? Maybe. If only for the event. No. Okay. This is very peculiar. Yeah, I'm misdirecting the bat location as is normal. And now here is actually a moment where hypnosis would be excellent for the hunters. If say Guldam or Mina had accidentally bobbled into that and we had the same results, because it would be entirely possible for him to choose, have excellent weather on Van Helsing, and forewarned with all this extra supplying, he goes out to Edinburgh, and then that on the day he forewarns the bats, stakes the vamp, done. Meanwhile, Mina or Van Helsing or Guldaming could easily have horsed to Zurich on the assumption that they have horses. So that could have happened a lot of different ways. They didn't have to find that out via hypnosis. This has been quite a unorthodox game, to say the least. But, how many times have I said that? I don't know. Oh, he actually did not go to Munich. So it's... And since he got to misdirect first, before someone got to check that, it means that could be the bat location. So the east is now out of the question yet. So he went to Frankfurt... From Leipzig, he went to Frankfurt, and then to Nuremberg. Yep, and Van Helsing's following up on that. So, wonder if Dracula will show up after all. This is... Dogs. Okay, yeah, that... Oh, that was a mistake on AndreZot's part. He should have ambushed with the spy to force Van Helsing to discard the dogs. It's possible he just forgot. Now that spy goes away with no effect. So... in a strange way, even though this is definitely... definitely unusual to us in terms of how he's playing this, it has turned out reasonably well for Spencer. It's going to be here. Like, finding this location here is going to be a difficult task. So, yeah, I think he's gonna scan Italy, see if Dracula's there. Yeah, I think that this is the right sort of thing to do after an escape is bat, if you don't have hypnosis. Although perhaps I would, since you haven't drawn any newspapers yet, oh, found it. It's Bordeaux. So, from Zurich, so that means that was, there wasn't even a wolf form, so it was 3 away. Okay, so we now have discovered where that location is. So now there's no particular need for me to follow Guldoming to Milan, but I mean that gets her closer to the trail anyway. So makes sense. I mean, makes a certain amount of sense at least. Yeah, I don't think I would. I think I would have gone east because you saw a horse discarded. So their movement will be definitely somewhat confined. Oh. Okay, why didn't you ambush with that? Early game vampires, fighter vamps, especially recluses, there's definitely an argument for, okay, bodyguards. Oh, does Van Helsing have a weapon? We know that. Okay, he does have a pistol. Yeah. So we know what Van Helsing's 2 cards are. Well, 2 of Van Helsing's cards are. He once had a stake, which was used to kill a hamburger vampire. Yeah, so since they managed to find the location of the escapist bat, like basically where his trail left off after the escapist bat, they're in good shape. They may be a little bit behind, but it's still only a couple days into week 2, so they have time to catch up. Whereas, especially if Rufus Smith were to pop up, there's only so much Dracula can afford to go by sea. So he'll definitely try to avoid that as long as he can. The question is, how long is that? Checking Santander. Okay, nope. It was not. Or he backtracked to Clermont-Ferrand, potentially. But I have doubts that he would do that. I mean, he could have him check Strasbourg. Oh. Yeah, he stepped on a lair there. Although, him being someone who plays lairs, he likely identified that it was, like, on the timeline. Gonna check Paris, I'm gonna guess? Yeah. I mean, that has to be the case if you're going further than this, since that's part of the yellow line. So it didn't. So after. Mystic research. Okay, 4 safe night supplies. Okay, a local rumors here in Paris would be like quite possibly just devastating for Dracula. Okay. Oh, a newspaper? Okay, yeah. It was not. There was still a possibility it was Clonel Ferrand. And then he hid and moved into Marseille after Seward went to Bordeaux. That was possible, but it is so. As hunters, I would at least find it gratifying to figure out that it is the obvious move. Is he hiding at Le Havre? Well, not anymore if he was. And obviously, okay, taking into account that Marseille was possible still, because he could have gone Nantes and then Clermont-Ferrand. So if he is just going back up north, he would be at Cologne right now, or Amsterdam. Like he would be adjacent to Brussels, and then not at Cologne, Strasbourg perhaps, or going to Amsterdam, making that his like last land move before he goes to sea, possibly. Okay. Does Seward have a heavenly host? We know that he has a knife and that he has a horse. Is heavenly host his last card? No. Yeah, he used the heavenly host that he did have in the fight, so that could well be. He's gonna have to send someone to deal with that, because after putting in that effort to lower Dracula's health like that, he should try to. Because dealing with that is essentially dealing Dracula 3 more damage. Eventually. And he has to get someone with a heavenly host there by. That will mature. Let's see. Saturday or. Oh, wolf form. Can't say I'm surprised there. Makes it a little. The fact that Hamburg is still there. Actually, I'm not sure if Spencer knows this, but he knows where he wolf formed from. At this point, the reason is these layers. It rules out all of his potential wolf forms from Amsterdam, barring Strasbourg. So we know that he's been at Strasbourg at some point. Whether now or later, we don't yet know. So we need someone with a heavenly host to go to Nantes. Ideally, at least. That would help him reshuffle his deck, but he hasn't played any fogs yet, so. Oh, what? Okay. Oh, the Frankfurt lair did get cleared. Hoax. Okay. This is improving things for Dracula. Spencer has only supplied 20 times, and well, actually 18 times due to the 2 of them being from Mystic Research, and but eight of those 20 cards are Dracula events, so he's only drawn 12 uh, events, 12 hunter events, more accurately. Hmm. 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 Yeah, he's hoarse, but now he's wondering where to. From the Havre, he did not go to Paris. You know that he was at Brussels. And since he did not go to either Cologne or Strasbourg since then, he had to be at Amsterdam. He must have then hid, and then I think he's actually at Hamburg, but he maneuvered the lairs just at the right time to do it. That would have taken very precise timing. Which I don't know. Possibly he could have managed that. Okay. Honestly, yeah, at this point he knows that Brussels is next. So that means that this card is Amsterdam. The question is, where did he wolf horn to? Leipzig is still a lair on the trail, so actually it still can only be Hamburg. Unless he wolf horned Paris after Mina left it. Which I suppose that timeline would work out. Except they just scan. Did he just scan? I was a bit too distracted by other thoughts to notice, but if he did, then he knows that it's not that's not anything in Gallia. However, now Dracula is going to get his desecrated soil mature, so that's 3 healing. Or rather 3 more healing, since he fed the last turn. But I think after that he'll have little choice but to go to sea. Yep. I mean, at this point, Dracula will reason out that they will now be making a beeline for him. Surely... I mean, any Dracula player who has good faith in his opponent will know that he knows exactly where he is at this point, or at least he is in the very first place that they will check. Yep, heading to sea. But the fact that there was North Sea. But the fact that there was the soil mature, rather means that he net heals. Oh? Wolfform hide. Interesting. Okay, so this is looking like a double that amp if he's ambushing with a hide reckless. Fangs into dodge. Good. Good. That's good for the hunters. Oh, hmm. Oh, does he have holy bullets? Okay. The fact that he played that... I suppose he does know that this is a hide vamp, so therefore he likely wouldn't do that against a hide vamp. I mean, the vampire is out of fangs, and he knows this, so... Might as well punch next? Strength? Yep. He's thinking along similar lines. However, I mean, this is still only the hide encounter. Gotta be careful. Strength into garlic. Okay. Garlic is definitely a very nice defensive card. So that's his last card. He's got dogs. He's got he's got garlic, and he's got a rifle. Garlic is very good defensive, and it's perfectly reasonable in a one-on-one fight. Okay. Yeah, with both fangs and both strengths played, the vampire's out there. So, if Van Helsing wants to search Amsterdam, then he has to Reckless Vampire. I suppose he's ambushing because he knows if one, it's a Reckless Vampire. Two, Mina hasn't shown a stake before. At least I don't think so. But the other thing is that she is showing that she has escape routes, and you might want to try and get her to burn it. On a like semi dud fight. Strength into crucifix. Whoa. Alright. He went for something a bit spicy there. Yeah, since he went for none of the typical Reckless Vampire openings, she got foiled, but in that... Does that hurt him? In this case, no, it does not. Plotting into punch. Got him. Yeah, plotting makes sense with not only dodge, but knowing that they have a crucifix. It definitely makes sense to do either mez or plot next. Okay, claws into pistol. Called it again. Spencer is weaning it down. And the thing is, he can also play the crucifix again this round to parry, and at least an attempt to parry escape his miss. So you'll have a chance to finish this thing off. Oh, yeah, I think I would have gone for the crucifix because yeah, so that just turns out to the vampire's benefit. Deals 2 damage and gets a point. The pistol is nothing but check the healing. Now that he's played both fangs, or no, that's only the first fang. Claws into punch. Up, vampire's dead. I'm guessing that he didn't have escape as missed, or he quite possibly would have tried to, or more likely than not, I think he would have tried to kill that. Tried to escape his mist. However, Mina is not really in great shape now. Mind you, that hide vamp, that's not but the hide. That's a hide card. It doesn't mature. So the question is, what is this? That's the real question. That is our current problem. He does still have. He still has mystic research supplies. So I might have instead of resting chosen to supply there, try to find a stake, so that if the Amsterdam card is also a vampire, he would be able to at least get rid of one, guaranteed. So, Dracula will almost get. Oh, he doesn't have wolf form, so it is likely that he will just go cruising about for a bit. So, once they deal with Amsterdam, that is also, if they deal with Amsterdam, they will have something of a reprieve, since even with one CG Heavenly Host short, CG is still quite a threat. It can easily limit. It can easily limit what options you have. Okay, yeah, covering different sea zones. Fair enough. And if Dracula normal lands now, he will be landing from either English Channel, in which case you send Gul'daming here, and send. Ideally, you would want another speed telegraph, but we've seen one. But if you have the second one, you can have Mina or Van Helsing check out. You can have someone check out Le Havre. Yeah, you have the mystic research supplies. Why aren't you using them, I wonder? So, okay, if he lands his turn, he will have to be a bit cautious that he clears the lair at Le Havre before. Okay, he did not clear Le Havre now. And now it just looks suspicious. But he's doing a third sea move. So now he could be English Channel, North Atlantic, Irish Sea, or South Atlantic. It could be any of the four. However, yeah, you definitely move to the English Channel, because he's definitely not going to be coming. Because if he does come in, it'll be faster to intercept him from the English Channel, regardless of which sea it is. Going South Atlantic? Not sure. I actually might have landed so that you could supply. Oh, Van Helsing's got the money trail. Irish Sea. Okay. Well, in that case, you can cause Dracula to do an error here. If you have CG and the two remaining Heavenly Hosts, Sagani Mob in the lair. That was a small mistake on her part. However, mind you, it does have to be either Van Helsing or Mia carrying it. And Van Helsing is only one event. So unless that event specifically is CG. Oh. Hey, Vinecat. This is, you watching the game?
Not yet. Where do I go? Is it on the Twitch?
Yes, if you go to, just a moment, folks. If you go to the content and click on the link that is right there under my name, you will see it'll take you directly to my Twitch page.
I clicked the wrong button. There we go.
Okay. Okay. How as I'm posting this stream, it would probably be better if you left a bit for now. Okay.
Oh, left the Discord, left the Discord chat, and just log into Twitch.
No, just the voice channel. That's all.
Wait, you want me to jump out of the voice channel?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So, sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. Vinecat is a newcomer to our community, so feel free to say hi to her.
Hello. I'll go join you guys on Twitch.
Yeah. Okay. So, up here in England, with him having to do a normal landing to continue, no matter where he is, since he had to do a normal landing, he is definitely in a dangerous position, because he'll take an entire 4 if he takes an air, and okay. However, he may end up choosing to come to London and battle, or Wolfhorn to Plymouth, because in order to get to the Irish Sea, he would have had to go to the North Atlantic second. So therefore, I mean, Sewer should definitely check out Ireland as a just in case, but so folks, feel free to want to news. Let's. Okay, that seems to say that he will be checking Liverpool. Well, that was impossible. I'm not sure why you did that. I suppose he wants to cut it off. So Hyde did just slide off the trail, so this could be a Hyde card. Oh, well, okay, we already knew that. But whatever. Mia does have an escape route, so you would have to be at least a little bit wary jumping right onto her if you're if you went to Liverpool Swansea. Okay, just discarding a horse again. So now we know that there's only the one horse in play. Okay, so it was Liverpool. The question is it Manchester or is it Swansea? Considering that he knows that there is one Heavenly Host out of play, I think that he would, there will be, okay, at this point, Dracula can be comfortable that there's no CG in play, because they would have been guaranteed able to force him out to sea and cause him to have an error. That being said, he needs to find a way back to the sea, because they're hot on his heels. That'll be a Hyde card, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, yeah, regardless of whether that's to Manchester or to Swansea, it is gonna be surprising return. Okay, we've had Aggie. Okay, search. I hope you have another surprising return, because Aggie's help would be definitely beneficial, with Mina being at something of a low HP. So yeah. Let's see. What would I do with Seward as the hunters in this case? Yeah, threaten to jump on him via excellent weather if he chooses to stay and feed, I suppose. Well, the thing is, if he feeds, he's still stuck. because Irish Sea won't come off the trail for another couple of days. Even if you were to do that and Dark Hall, that still wouldn't be enough. He will eventually have to... he's probably going to have to accept that he's eventually going to have to wolf form down to Plymouth. In fact, he quite possibly should have done that instead of hiding. He may just have to accept that. Interesting. Yeah, Dracula is definitely in a very delicate position here. And now that Mina is at 7, it's getting more and more dangerous every day for Drac. Even though it may not appear to be. Because what does he do now? Feed? Go up to 12? Does it... From Swansea, wolf form is like, here I am, come get me. If Godalming is holding a forewarned, and even a halfway decent ticket, so long as he doesn't have double white 1, he can reach him. So, the problem is, can he move Mina in reasonably? Yeah. Okay, so he's going to draw a few more cards because of a lair. That will be helpful long term for Dracula, but the question is that long term actually going to happen? It is also noteworthy that we are about to enter week 4. The hunters made up time because of the sea voyage, but all right, 1-on-1 Godalming versus planned ambush. Okay, that makes things better. Greetings, Vinecat. And thank you for the follow. Which I'm sure you likely all know this already, Vinecat, but now you'll get a notification anytime I go online. Okay, rifle. Okay, holy bullets. Yes, apparently. If Dracula takes any more damage and fails to heal, and because keep in mind that Aggie was used to search, she was not equipped, so he can still fang to heal, but yeah, I'm usually on around this time. That comes from the fact of like when people tend to schedule games. I come around. I have a lot of free time due to work hours at work being a little bit scarce at present. So therefore I have a lot of time to spare, and this is a nice way to keep myself busy. Okay, mesmerize again. Oh, knife. Okay, but that's both mesmerize is gone. So, I think as Dracula, your wing condition is actually to escape as a bat, so that you can. And while that may seem wacky, is the reason why that is a wing condition is that by escaping as bat, you take Plymouth off the trail, and by doing so, get back your wolf form. So you would escape as bat to London, go to the English Channel, and then, you would have to also heal. You would also have to get in the fangs. Oh, but that would bite him. Ah. Yeah, and also, if this were one day later, Vinecatch, if it were already week 4, simply escaping his back gets you 3 points. But in this case, there isn't time. Since Goldung's already mesmerized, he'll end the combat if he gets bitten. Okay, chose the knife successfully. Okay, so now he cannot go to C, and I think he does have a plotting in play though. He actually may gain that health right back. It's because I don't think Goldung has any other way to block the second. Yeah, well carried out by AndreZot. That was carried out well because the knife, the effect of that knife is negated due to this. Because he had the plotting to cancel the dodge. Well, what good is it to run if the round's gonna if this is gonna be the last round of the fight anyway? Vinecatch is that's the problem with running then. And since a knife wasn't a lethal hit, due to Goldung being mesmerized, there was really no purpose to that at that point. So he can now move to London, lay down a fresh encounter, but Mina can simply land there. Mind you, simply surviving through this fight has meant that Dracula. Oh, alternatively, he goes to see now. Keep the hunters guessing as to where he will be, but then he won't have enough health to wolf form. Then is the problem. Well, not to mention he doesn't. Wolf form is already on the trail. I wouldn't count him as out yet, Vinecatch. You wouldn't believe some of the crazy things we've seen. Okay, so he's going with the feed. That seems to imply that he's sitting on a fog, and therefore, if anyone else tries to interfere, he already has won a little bit more IDS by surviving till week 4. That's something of a... And Vinecatch, since you're new to the community, IDS is our secondary tiebreaker. It has to do with how much influence Dracula game... It's a way of measuring how close the game was. Like, it's all very well to win, but it's good. I mean, the win is what matters most, but... Let's make that clear, but sometimes when it comes to a tied number of wins, you need okay, strength. Okay, yeah, Goldung of course going aggressive. Yeah, I think actually this feed route is better because it'll take a forewarn to get Goldung any assistance. If I were to guess, Dracula's gonna do Fang next because, again, with no ad gameplay, he can continue to heal by hitting with Fangs. I would, since you just played Knife, I think I would Punch, and I know that I think that I mentioned Fangs, but the reason to do that is, what if he tries to plot? Because then he simply has to wait for your knife to go by, and then he can Fang you again. Not to mention, what about Mesmerize? That would lower your weapon's damage. I mean, looking at the map, Mia can 100% get here, but Dracula knows that all she has is an escape route, so he knows there's no forewarn there. It'll be almost better for Mina to simply try and simply go to London and block and simply prevent him from. If he wants to stay any longer, he'll have to dark call or move right onto Mina. Slowly but surely. Yeah, it's a tough thing to. It's a tough call as Dracula because in this situation where it's constant combat, you definitely have to play very carefully. and choose your cards with care. To be sure. Personally, I think that if Mina chooses to go to London, and Seward in turn chooses to go to probably Liverpool to deal with that rumor token, because England is structured. I suppose I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's make sure that the fight is here. All right. Yeah, so he knows that Godalming has played knife, but he's used both his strengths. And he knows that Godalming also does have a rifle. Thinking, AZ? Thinking, AZ? Thinking, AZ? Yeah. Dracula cannot even attempt to escape until round 5 at this stage. So... Oh. Ah, so that's what's going on. Apparently, Spencer Wolfhard, he informed Spencer Wolfhard that his game crashed and he's rebooting. Well, in that case, we just gotta wait. Be patient. This is not the first time we've had technical issues. Okay, the fact that it is finally registered that he's left seems to say that he is that he has finished rebooting his computer and has registered that he's not here anymore. So he should be in relatively soon. All right. But what I was getting at before is if since now that he has fed, he has enough health to go 2 sea spaces rather than just the one, and then land at Bordeaux or Nantes, neither of which are vulnerable to a CG nuke. And with most hunters all the way in England, it'll be down to whether Van Helsing can finish him off. I think that would be Dracula's best path here. If that is what the hunters do. Mind you, there is a rumor token up here, and that could get Dracula up to 7 influence. So the hunters are still under pressure. They have to finish the job soon for this to work. Yeah, so as you can see, Viking Cat, it's nowhere near as close as you might have thought. Like it's nearly not so a game over. It's not as near a game over as you thought. Yeah, we've already seen one fog, but the deck is reshuffled at this point. Yeah, he healed for a bit, and no, hide is still on the trail, so he cannot hide. He could still dark call, but that would I think be rather controversial, and I think that we can probably agree on that one. If he's gonna if he would dark call, he's gonna move by IC instead. Alright, AndreZot seems to be back. He should... Alright, let's see what he does. Okay, good. He's back. Now then, let us see what's going on. Or rather, let's see what he chooses to do. So, and Goldamin's goal is obviously to number one, survive, and number two, keep Dracula from healing as much, and ideally do net positive damage. Yeah, and the thing is, Goldamin may actually have to move out of Plymouth because he is getting low on health, and therefore Dracula may just be unchallenged if he goes to sea. If he takes much more damage in this daytime fight, yeah, I probably would have punched that one because he just played a Fang. Why would he do another when he knows you have knife and dodge up? Yeah, I probably would have done punch up there. So now if he scores a hit with the knife, it'll deal less damage. Or with the rifle, for that matter. Fangs again. Dodge, I hope? Yep, okay. Fortunately, Spencer saw that coming. Escape is missed. Okay, and there's nothing Goldamin can do about that. So he got I think 6 damage on Goldamin. Like 4 to 6 damage on Goldamin, and yeah. Okay, one HP doesn't matter in the math of combat because in combat. Damage comes in 2s from Dracula, so 5 or 6, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one bit, unfortunately. So yeah, he's going to see to the rumor token, make sure that they have time. The problem is that Van Helsing can't trade with Mina to give her to even feign giving her a forewarned, because you can't trade with hunters who are at sea. So, alright, he's going for it. Is it a fog? It is. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it was a rumored hoax as a decoy. Clever. Ah, hey, Gyro. Yeah, it is still just this could still be anyone's game. However, the fact that Dracula can easily afford at least 2 sea movements, means that he can go to North Sea or North Atlantic with ease. And let's see, we saw soil mature at Hamburg or Amsterdam. I don't recall which, but yeah, he definitely can't afford to stay there any longer. I mean, honestly, actually, he should have gone to London real quick. Because with them fogged, there was no risk of him being attacked, and sewer delay, there was no risk of him being attacked that turn, with the sole exception of a renewed vigor with Van Helsing holding excellent weather. That would be the only circumstances under which he could be attacked. However, it will still have to be a normal landing when the time does come for him to land. Unless he does let's see. How many seasons will that longer will he have to stay at sea to make that wolf form come off? He still has to move 4. he still has to move 4 spaces to win. So okay. The problem is if the hunters do not dig up CG, he could, in theory, just go loop, go to North Atlantic, then land on Galway, Dublin, and then Dublin and Hyde, and that's 3 of said 4 movements, as Hyde card does count, whether face up or face down. Yeah, but he definitely can't just telegraph that he's at Le Havre or London. And London could be easily checked, so he definitely wants to try to get a head start. Van Helsing did trade Goldaming some event or another, possibly an excellent weather. I imagine he would have used it then and there, if that was what it was. Okay, so now Seward will go to Swansea, I assume. And then once Dracula lands, he will be the anti-Ireland force, I would imagine. What? Okay. So you're letting Swansea mature? If that's an aristocratic vampire, that would cut off 2 days. He would only need 2 days of movement. What? Discarding a knife? That's... Alright, that would have been useful if Mina had drawn that, but... Well, no. I suppose he would have had to be in a port for that to be useful at all. Why to London instead of Swansea? And yes, Dracula... But Dracula's moved twice. And Wolfform's on the trail, so he can't Wolfform there. So why? Does he have an excellent weather as his one event, perhaps? I imagine that... Yeah, he would have to stay out at sea 2 more turns. This turn and next turn. Before he could Wolfform. But at that point, he would be at a health total where he simply can't Wolfform. So, that's just a dead hope. Okay. So, 2 sea zones. They've already spent my trail. Hypnosis has already been used. So that's all of the easiest ways of finding Dracula gone. However, that being said, there is yet hope, since they've contained his influence so far. Okay, what? Apparently layered Swansea. Apparently, whatever that was, it was... Oh! That was... Wow, that evil presence was big, because that tells us that it was North Sea. He landed somewhere from the North Sea. But the problem is, that could actually be Edinburgh. And what's more, that means that he landed at Hamburg. He landed either at Hamburg or Edinburgh, because all of these ports are covered by the fact that Godalming was right here. So that was an excellent... that was a top tier Hamburg. That was a... Okay, so therefore he went back to Manchester. Or went back to Edinburgh. That was like a god tier evil presence. I'm afraid with that, it is unlikely that Dracula will survive. Because that ruled out all of the North Sea ports, which meant that was... Or North Atlantic ports, sorry. Oh, CG. That is game. That is a 7 IDS win for Spencer Wolfhart, which... Okay, so Seward and Van Helsing had Heavenly Hosts. GG will play... Oh, Devilish Power! Whoa, it's not over yet. Oh ho ho! Oh, wow. So it's not game over yet because he did give him in that. However, he is forced to move on to Manchester. He gets 3 more points, so it's going to be a closer game. But he can't stay here. So, in effect, this is CG Hotel. But wow. This will be a very hype game for both of them. Oh, Renewed Vigor? Okay, so that means that they can, both of them can supply and move on. I agree with what AndreZot is saying. Even though Spencer Wolfhart spoke too soon that it was GG then and there, on it being GG then and there, that evil presence was the real killer. Oh, he's trying to... So he's gonna have to survive this combat and potentially get 4 more points, 4 more ambush points with this Reckless Vampire. And kudos to him for laying down Reckless Vampires to close the IDS as much as possible. Oh, Holy Circle? Lol. Okay, bye-bye. And what's more, Mina has an escape route. She still has that. So she won't have to bother with that at all. I would have supplied with Stuart first, for the record, but I suppose since you have the Holy Circle, you're ready for a vampire? Agreed. Massive impact there. Well, I'll say my piece when they agree to a post-game chat, or once it's actually finished, because it's not over until it's over. Because with no Aggie in play, he could, in theory, like if he chooses to play the Heavenly Host, he could try to bite the Heavenly Host that he showed, and it knocks Seward out of the combat that way while still healing. Mia's been holding that escape route for a long time, but so it's not. It would not have won. Unfortunately, Driver, you're not quite right there. It would not have won it because that is the one land location that is the one land location in England. So therefore, or even without a forewarned, it would only have been 1 fog token. That would have bought him only 1 day, and he would have been 1 shy. What's that we have? Planned ambush? Okay, so yes, that is GG. Almost guaranteed. Yeah, since we know that, well, Seward, well, we saw a knife on the, Goldaming we know has a knife. Van Helsing discarded a knife. Does Mia not have a knife then? I wonder. Well, Seward has planned ambush, so... Okay, well, alright, that's just the equivalent of conceding since Seward showed a Heavenly Host. So, that is GG for Spencer Wolfhart. GG, well played both. Both. Excellent game. Excellent game. Yeah. I also... Put post-game chat... Post-game chat? Yeah, I'll see if they're up to... I'll see if they're up to a chat, but... Let's see. Influence... was... Alright, yeah, that is fair. It is definitely very late for AndreZot. It'll be only 20 till midnight by his time zone, so fair enough. Yeah, that evil presence was a massive impact. that was since that in effect told him where he was. Uh, sure thing, sure thing, no prob. But for the record, I agree that the evil presence since decided the game. Whoops, slight typo, but whatever. Up until then, it was still uncertain who would win, but well done to Spencer Wolfhart. That is, yeah. I'm not sure if Spencer will agree to a short chat either, but he left the game, so I'll go ahead and send him one Discord ping, but we'll see. See if he wants to have a quick chat or not. Want a quick chat. But for those of you who watch this on YouTube, thank you all for watching, and see you all next time. Bye. Okay. Now for those of you on Twitch, I will see what we'll take a moment to see if Spencer agrees. But give me just a moment to yeah. Okay, now yeah, I imagine he's busy filling out the post-game form, so never mind. And besides, it's better if we have both players in for these sorts of things. So, thank you everyone for watching, and see you all next time. Bye bye.